Yarr, me laddies. Hello, this is Captain Blue here over at CG Pirates. I hope ye are well. Okay, this is a bit of a shorty, but someone have been asking me about cinematics in the Facebook channel, and I'm not one to, hold back on this. Now, cinematics isn't just, moving cameras around and stuff, even though the person had asked how you can move cameras. It also relates in cinematics to things like doors, stuff like that. Anything that can move dynamically is really, a bit cinematic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this box here, okay, which you just see I've made from this cube, and I'm going to scale it. So 0.2, and then I'm going to 2. Okay, so I've got this nice wall type thing going on here, yeah? Now, if we imagine we're in a game, top quality, super duper video game, and I've got two walls here, and then in between the two I've got this door, okay? And what I want is when the player gets close enough, an electronic eye type thing perhaps, or a proximity thing can just automatically open the door. That's the most simple interaction there is. Okay, door opens. So how do we pull this off? Well, there's a couple of ways we can do it, but an easy way of doing it is perhaps we could just put together a simple cinematic. So I'm going to make a level sequence and make a new folder, and I'm going to call this sequences. And if I just go in here, I'm going to call this simple underscore door underscore level underscore sequence, which I'll spell correctly. Okay, and that brings up this big scary thing that no doubt is going to fill you with worry. Don't let it, okay? Now, I'm going to select this here, cube 3, which in actual fact, just to make things easier for us, we're going to call door, okay? And if I just right click here, act at a sequencer, I can add door. And now I've got this track, and I've got this transform. Okay, and the transform is going to allow me to do all sorts of cool things, like move it around and stuff like that. Well, I can move it around anyway, but it's going to allow me to do it on a timeline. Now, this is where I want it to start, 0, 0, 0, and I want to finish at 100 frames, which is just over 3 seconds. So I'm going to drag this right to 100, right click, set my end time. Right then, so at the beginning, if I go to location, we can see here my Y is set at 0. If I move this a little bit, it then goes to 30. So I'll start it at 0, and I'm just going to press here where it says add a new key, and you'll see we get this little circle here. So that's a keyframe. So that lets the Unreal Engine know that at frame 0, when it hits that on this playhead, because this is the playhead, this needs to be at 0, 0, okay, with an X of 230 and a Z of 120. So that's its world position. Now if I move it along to frame 100 and then drag this so that it's completely open and then press add a new key, you'll see two things have happened. One, we've got a key here, and two, okay, we've got this, which is basically a visual representation of our keyframes. And you'll notice that we've got all these dots close together, spread out close together, and that's because it's using a curve for its motion. So it'll start slow, speed up, and slow down. Now this is all about curves, and we can come back to that later, but for the minute this is fine. So I'm going to save my current sequence and close off. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a box trigger in front of it, and I'm going to bring my box trigger up to here, okay, and I can make it bigger if I want to, or wider, or all these kind of things, okay? There we go. So if my player walks into this, I want the door to open, yeah? Okay then, so how are we going to do that? Well, if I go to my blueprints and my level blueprint, and I'm just going to move this just so that we can kind of see everything in our show that's going on, right? I'm going to move that to there. Now, if I go down to my content, you'll see we've got sequences, and so I'll drag my sequence in, and it'll look like a clapperboard. That's what that thing is. That's an old-fashioned clapperboard. So now I need to add things. So I'm going to right-click, and I want to add an event for trigger box 1, collision, add on actor begin overlap. Okay, so this will now activate whenever anything overlaps that. Okay, now what's it going to do when it overlaps it? Well, if I just select my simple door level sequence just there, there's also another one just here, because of course it's automatically in the scene anyway. Right click and create a reference to it. Okay, so there we go. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just drag that out. If I type just play, you can see we've got lots and lots of different options here in our sequence player. But what I want to do is just play our sequence player like that. Okay. And now if I just move this to here and click compile and save, and I'm just going to give this simple name like demo 1. There we go. Now if we go into our system, there's our door opening. Now you'll see that it plays and then it kind of jumps back, okay, because we do need to do a little bit more tweaking to this, but that is how you get it to, basically how you get it to do an automated cinematic opening. And like I say, that'll work on cameras and just about anything. So there's our sequence, and if I go to my blueprints, there's our level blueprint. Okay, now for tidiness, I'm just going to bring this down here, and we have an option at the end, okay, for our sequence player where we can make it stop. Okay, so we can stop sequence. So we just need to kind of go down here and find it, or we could loop it, or we could reverse it. So let me see. Target sequence player. Just type stop. Sequence player, and then at the end, all I need to do is that, and then when it's done its play, it'll then stop with the door in an open position. Okay, and then all I need to do is just select all those and put door opens on trigger. There we go. Wasn't that easy? Right then, I hope you found that useful. There's a lot of things you can do coming off that, to be quite honest, you know, so have a play around with it and just see what you can do, and I will see you in our next shorty. Until then, YARRRRRRRR. And remember, you look after yourself. If you ever need a pal to talk to, CG Pirates is there for you. We love you, buddy. Bye bye.